Four random devs create a game based off the theme Strategy from the Shadows. But there's a twist. Each developer joins the growing team and can collaborate with everyone who came before, but previous devs get permanently locked out of the project. And this time there was an extra twist that was thrown in which really amped things up. So let's jump right into it with dev number 1.
Hi, my name's Iiro. I'm a game design master's student from Finland. I'm currently on paternal leave, so the 5-day time limit for me is actually more like 15 hours. The theme fit an idea I've had before of you playing as the guy in the chair for like a hero agent on a mission.
Can I be your guy in the chair? I don't need a guy in the chair.
Your job is to be the brains of the operation, distracting guards, hacking cameras, such and such.
Guy in the chair.
I would love it if this was a 2-player co-op game, but for this challenge it has to be single player. I'm hoping this could be like a high score game where you try to take risks, optimize and beat your best time. I started by programming a way for you to plan a route for the hero and telling them to start and stop by pressing space. I recorded some placeholder voice lines for you as the player character. Stop there. Hold. This is more to communicate my intent than to be finished voice work, but for a jam game, I guarantee you will hear my voice in the final game. I made some guards that go from patrol point to patrol point, and they have this view cone in front of them, and if you step into the view cone, they instantly shoot you. Getting the visual of the view cone to match the actual vision cone of the guard was surprisingly difficult, and I solved with the age-old method of try stuff until it works. And it turns out that this is the formula that works. The guards use Unity's navmesh system, so I'm hoping it will be flexible and easy for future developers who are making levels to place patrol points, as it doesn't matter if there's a line between the points, the guard will simply find a way to get there. I'm hoping there would be a hiding mechanic, so I implemented ways to detect if the player is in lights. All different types of lights require a different kind of implementation. If you're interested in how the system works, I have an extended version of this devlog on my channel where I go into more in depth about the systems that I created, as well as how to do light detection. On my last day, I added this security camera, which is similar to a guard. If it sees the agent, it will simply kill them. I'm planning on these being the types of cameras which you would disable with a console command. I also quickly added this sleep dart mechanic. If you come right behind the guard and get close enough, the hero will sleep dart them. I'm hoping this can be used to add some strategy or depth to route planning. Finally added this score screen and tutorial levels for the mechanics I managed to implement. One major feature that I didn't have time to implement was the idea that you are playing behind a computer screen and you can hack cameras. The beauty of these lazy teeth challenges is that I can simply ask the next dev if they could do that. So I'm thinking that you use a computer, but currently there's nothing in the game that makes it seem like you're playing behind a computer. So could you add a command prompt or something like that?
You're thinking kind of the bottom corner there, you hit some key or something and pops up.
Yeah, something like that. And there's a security camera already in the game that kills you if you step into it, so that you can have something like kill cam, something that will delete the camera or make it go off for a cooldown or something.
Total command line tool stuff getting in there, which is awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Should be no problem. So there's guards in there. Any other obstacles that are currently in there, or any ideas on those that we want to throw in there?
There is the security camera, which is basically a spotlight that kills you. Currently there's this intel object that you have to collect in order to complete the level. I was also thinking that there is something that requires you to stop in front of it, like a safe to be unlocked or a console to hack, so that you have to make the agent stop for a while. Makes it more likely that a guard will walk past and see them. So something that can't be instantly collected. That was all I got done. Every game I've ever made is free on itch.io, link in the description. I would love it if you could play them and leave me some feedback so that I could improve as a game designer. And you can wishlist my first Steam release, Lilith's Game, on Steam. Fun fact, it also started life out as a Pass the Game challenge.
Hi, I'm Skloopy. Already, the game had a full game loop. So now it was time to add some more challenges in for the player. First up was adding in the command console system. This included building a modular command input system that will allow for adding new commands easily. The first major command is camera disruption. Cameras get disabled for a set duration after typing in the disable command, but it comes with a cooldown period, so you have to strategically time your disables. In order to get the codes for the camera, I had to expand on the collectible system and create a modular event firing on pickup. In this case, I'm using it to display the security camera text on pickup. The next obstacle for players are doors. I've created two varieties. First, key doors, where an agent needs to collect and be holding a specific color key to open doors. Second are hackable doors. These can only be opened through the command console, similar to how you disable cameras. When discussing with the team, one big topic that came up was making an obstacle that agents have to stop at, so I added computers that agents need to hack. I added a little mini game where you, the player, have to press left and right in rapid succession to hack the computer. But don't go too fast, as mistakes come with a time penalty. The biggest add was multi-agent control. I had to do a fairly significant add to the agent manager to allow for multiple agents to be controlled on a single level. All agent paths must be drawn before any one agent moves. The player can switch between agents at any time using the number keys. I still wanted a little bit more control in the initial planning phase, so I added strategic waypoints. These are markers that can be placed on any agent's path that will have them automatically stop. Lastly, I packaged up all the additions into a few more tutorials. And it's off to the next step.
Hello, I'm Bromanguy. I don't actually have a YouTube channel or anything, but I am developing a video game. It's called Soulgrave. You should go and wishlist it right now, or else I'll tell Lazy to add another advertisement to your video. I actually never worked in 3D. I have no idea what I'm doing, and I have a really terrible condition. It's called full-time employment. So I really didn't have a lot of time to work on it as well. But I thought, like, why not? It could be fun. So I opened the project. I play around with it a little bit. Really fun to play. You just guide your little cylinder man past some square walls, hack some cameras, collect some intel. And then visually, it just kind of looks like a baby's Unity first project. And the little cylinder man looks like an Among Us character, but very, like, scuffed. Naturally, I responded like an idiot, coming in with like stuff like, yeah, let me just make like procedural puzzles or like a world map, underground base building, skill trees and upgrades. Maybe like I suggested the fishing minigame or something. And yeah, I was quickly humbled by the other devs. They were like, yeah, maybe you just don't do that and just do some level design. I go scouting the design doc that the other devs prepared, and it says like sci-fi steampunk. I say like, how am I supposed to do that? Like, what? Luckily, past me is financially irresponsible, so I actually already owned a low poly steampunk like asset. So yeah, I started working on the visuals, and like any other sensible and normal developer, first thing I did was add clouds. Big, sexy, moving clouds, okay? I look at them at like 2 in the morning, and I realized, okay, but there's like still like 10 more levels, and I don't need clouds for most of these levels. Like, what am I doing? And so I started adding more details, some cogs, some, well, steam, and also I realized that the top-down camera that was in the game was actually kind of very limiting. A lot of the 3D detail just gets lost at that like height and at that angle, so I just had to cheat and rotate around walls and stuff to make it more three-dimensional, even though it doesn't make any sense at all when you look at the correct perspective. I still wanted to give like each level that already existed in the game some unique identity and vibe. I came up with like a roof level, a library level, there's a gallery level, there's a bathroom level, there's a tram level that is actually really cool. You picked the wrong house, fool level. There's a balcony level. There's a level where I kind of gave up. There's a narrow street level. There's a museum insect level. I don't know. So the tram level specifically I thought was really cool because I had to create an illusion of you being in an actual moving object. So I had to do some magic where I put another tram that has all these particle effects and it's actually moving. Even though the background is really static, it kind of gives the feeling like you're actually, you know, in a tram. It's too bad that all you have to do is just walk from one place to another and then back. So much effort for such a small thing. So there were several other crimes I committed during this project. I stopped enemies from seeing the players through the walls. I added hacking sounds and particle effects for the cameras when you hack those. I added a bit of ambience to every level. Juiced up the player movement, where he bobs around a little bit when he moves and does a little cool 360 spin when you sleep dart the enemies. that one actually is totally not going to cause any issues for other devs with the way I implemented it. Other devs mentioned to me how all of the levels that are currently in the game are basically a tutorial, so I wanted to add a few more. I ended up adding 2. One of them actually had visuals as well, and the other one is prototype-y kind of level. That's basically everything I worked on in my very limited time with the game. And if you're sitting there thinking like, wow, why did they even invite this unfunny douchebag with a giant ego? He hasn't even contributed all that much. And you know what? You'd be right, okay? But I'd love to see you come here and do better. No, but in all seriousness, the game mechanics are really cool. And I'd say right now the game is like a 7 out of 10. The idea of the game is like 8 out of 10. And the clouds in the game are 10 out of 10. Thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate it. It was really fun. And I'm very excited to see what the next dev does with it.
Hey, it's Lighthoof Dryden. Thank you so much to Lazy T for having me back on after last time. Getting this project, I'm already super impressed with the state that it's in. I'm a bit limited on what I can actually do here since I don't work in 3D and I just don't want to mess anything up. So I'm gonna play to my strength, with UI, little fixes, and music. I started by adding some essentials. First, there was no way I could see to start over levels, and if you died, you just had to reload the scene. There was also no way to pause, so I re-implemented pausing and made a menu that lets you reload. Second, the doors were kind of holograms, which turned out to be a very simple fix of putting the doors on the right layer. Third, I am kinda dumb, and I thought that the camera wasn't working, and that's because I was putting the code in these brackets. I made it ignore non-alphanumeric characters so that this wouldn't happen to someone else. While I was working on that, I realized that once you grabbed the intel once for the camera, you didn't need to grab it again to complete the level because you already knew the code. To solve this, I made it randomly generate a 4-character code each time. Then I turned toward the visuals. There's already a lot of lovely environment art in there that brings together these disparate themes of steampunk and secret agent with an appealing gold and blue color palette. So I wanted to bring that into the UI. Since computers and steampunk don't often mix, it was a little tricky to find a style, but after trying out tons of fonts and adjusting the colors, I think it landed on something fresh and believable for this universe. I also liked this reversed out font. It kind of gives the impression of a redacted document, which brings in the secret agent theme more. Last, the music that's there is really cool, but it feels a little more digital than the visuals imply. I was only able to get 1 track done. I'm not sure if it neatly fits any particular style, but it's definitely cinematic and spycore, and it makes me feel cool when I beat a level.
For the lightning round, I was really happy to get to fix some bugs that I had to leave in the features that I implemented. I made this list of stuff that I felt needed to be done, but I realized that unless these take less than 15 minutes each, I won't be able to do all of these and make levels as well with the 8 hours that I have. So I simply fixed a bug with the sleep dart, where you could shoot enemies that were parallel to the hero, as well as added visuals to the sleep dart and also visuals for when you're actually hidden in shadow. I made 2 levels where you have to practice the hiding mechanic, and a third one which is meant for you to practice the sleep dart mechanic. I kind of feel the sleep dart might be a bit overpowered, so I told the other devs to either nerf it or remove it if they so feel like. I shared my list of concerns with the other devs and just sat back to see what magic the others can pull off in 8 hours.
Hi, I'm Skloopy. First things first, I wanted to squash some quality of life items that all the other devs brought up. So I tried everything I could to make it as easy as possible to get out of the command console. You can now press enter when there's no command to close it, enter the quick command, and I added an X button that you could just click to exit. It now also exits whenever a successful command is entered. Another issue that was brought up is that it's hard to tell which agent you currently have selected, so I added this bouncing cursor to let you know who you're currently controlling. Lastly, there was one large bug that guards didn't actually detect any agents except for the first one, so I went through and fixed the guard detection for multi-agent scenarios. And once again, it's off to the next dev.
So for the lightning round, I fixed the roof level I created. Now it's actually playable and it works instead of just being super bugged. I added visuals for the other level I created before, which was just wireframey blocky level. Now it actually looks good. I added a new level where you hide in the shadows from guards. It comes right after the tram level that teaches you how to do it. I also generally renamed all the levels and slightly rearranged them to make it a bit more logical, and that's it.
I am so glad we got another round because there is so much more that I wanted to do. First thing, I made another track. Again, not that the existing one was bad or anything, I just thought it would be good to bring the whole musical palette together. I used the exact same instruments but with a slowed down jazz-inspired groove. This track is for the planning phase, so to keep it a little more subdued, I let the bass take the main melody, had a Rhodes-type electric keyboard playing counter melodies, and then the tremolo strings for sustain. I particularly like how this little B section came out, with the arpeggiated synth bass taking over the low end as the electric bass climbs to the top of its range. During the last of my time, I replaced the main menu screen. It occurred to me that we never actually get to see the environment of the character that we're playing as, so the main menu would be the perfect time to set up that fantasy. That and fixing like one little bug, and I think the game is all sorted. Oh, and if you liked my contributions to this, you should check out my channel. It's called Lighthoof Dryden. I do devlogs about my roguelike Disinherited. Hope to see you over there.
Yeah, it was really cool. The project is actually really interesting, and I think there's like still a ton of room for expansion. Yeah, it's way bigger than I expected, like a little gem kind of project to be.
Just inherently, it's kind of fun to be the guy in the chair. Like, you aren't the agent, you're telling the agent what to do. And I think it delivers on that quite well. I really like this project. I think this game has a lot of potential.
You've essentially made the building blocks to just create a full game at this point. Don't imagine from seeing what you've all been doing that it would be all that difficult to build a lot more levels just with what systems you've already created.
Coming in as number 2, it was awesome already. Like where it was when it was handed off to me, like the bones were already there. It's like, oh man, yeah. So like the core game loop is kind of done. All we need to do is throw some obstacles in the way.
You really took this brief in a direction I didn't expect it to go.
This is actually like sort of like an old idea that I've had for years now. It's one of those games that I would like to play. In my wildest dreams, this would be like an asymmetrical multiplayer where one player plays the agent and another player plays the guy behind the chair. So thank you for everybody for basically testing a prototype that I've had.
I'll take a 25% cut, thank you.
Yeah. There are the bones of this idea in the game that have like a leaderboard, especially if this was like a co-op multiplayer, you could try to get the best time on a mission.
That's one thing I really found while playing this, that it would be a really good speedrunning game. If you were to look to make this more of a commercial release, what changes would you add? What mechanics would you put in place? Or is there anything that you would like remove?
Small achievements for each individual level completed with like some small milestones, for example. So complete this level with like only 2 stops, or hack the computer within like a certain amount of time and you'll get 3 stars for completing each mission and stuff like that. Definitely add more levels. You basically have all the tools you need to just like start slapping stuff onto the board and creating new levels.
One thing that I would like to see is like more of a narrative frame for the story. I think you could do some cool character design with the agents and make them more personalized so it feels like you're talking to a person. What if there was a way that you could make them go faster for a little bit so they don't always kind of walk at the same space? Like if you pressed F or something, they would do like a short-term sprint or like a roll forward. Just ways to keep going. And then everything Bromanguy said too. Like
I think a big thing would be to be able to iterate a little bit more rapidly in the game when you're going through that planning phase, because it can, I don't know if you all felt this way, but as you're even planning out making a level, so you're like, I don't really know where I want to get these people to, let me just try this really fast. So some sort of like rewind or something, it's like, whoop, like you started off and you're like, nope, that's not going to work. So something like that I think would add a lot, letting people be able to iterate, not have to start back at 0 for these, especially as they get more and more complex.
I would want there to be some optional equipment that like you can perhaps like completing levels, maybe getting a ranking. You could maybe get some currency and then use that currency to buy equipment for your agents and like try to beat a level better or faster, or optional objectives with equipment. Or maybe like you can get some equipment and perhaps you can retry an earlier level that get a better rating with a special equipment or something like that. After that, like I said, I would love this to be an asymmetrical multiplayer, but that requires an entire rework. And this is the kind of game which you could make a level editor for, and it probably wouldn't be like a terribly big tasks even, like just put all levels on a grid and then just make the prefabs movable like at runtime, and you have a level editor.
This is how it feels to develop a game. We just sit here and increase the scope again and again and again. There's no way we release it like this.
I'm waiting for that pass the game challenge when the second developer onwards, everybody just goes, I'm not going to add anything, I'm just going to polish.
Dryden.
Not looking at you whatsoever.
Don't look at me.